Today's lesson is Chapter 9, Lesson 3, Area of Trapezoids. So our previous two lessons we've learned about areas of parallelogram and the area of a triangle, and we learned two formulas for each of those. So today we're just going to add another one, and we're going to add the area of a trapezoid. So the area A of a trapezoid equals 1/2 of the product, so half. Product is the answer to a multiplication problem, so 1/2 times the height, and then you need to take that and multiply it by the sum of the base 1 plus base 2. Okay, so that's the formula. So you are going to want to write this formula down in order to help you figure out the area of a trapezoid. And remember, a trapezoid looks just like this image up here, so I'm going to draw one. It has two bases. There's the top one and the bottom one. It doesn't matter which one you call base 1 and base 2. It doesn't matter as long as you add the bases together. And then the slants are what connect it. Now remember, the slants are not the height. The part that is the height is going to be that dotted line that connects the two bases. And it usually has a little square there to show that it's a right angle. Okay, so you have base 1, base 2, and then the height that connects the two bases. Okay, and then when we find the area, what we're finding is how much is covered, how much space is covered with this trapezoid. So when we figure out our answer, we're figuring out how much can take up that space of the trapezoid. Okay, so we're going to do our first sample problem with this image right here, that trapezoid. So I can see that there are two bases, base here and a base here, and then there's a slant, which I know is not the height, and then this one is straight up and down, so this is the height. So I'm going to label my parts. I have B1 and I have B2, and then I have my height right here. So if I was to have a worksheet or a problem on a test or in my book, I would label my parts so I know which goes where. Then I'm going to use my formula. So I don't know my area, so that stays the A. And then I'm going to do half of the height, which my height is 7. And then I'm going to put my parentheses because I need to do this part first. So I need to add my base 1, which is right here. Base 1 is 5, and my base 2 is 12. Okay, so then I'm going to take the next step. Half times 7, and then 5 plus 12 I know is 17. Okay, then I'm just going to keep going. Half of 7, so half times 7. I know 7 is an odd number, so I'm not going to get an even number when I take half of it. I'm going to have a decimal or a fraction. So half of 7 is 3.5 or 3.5, and I need to take that times 17. So I'm going to do that right here, 3.5. 5 times 7 is 35. 5 times 1 is 5 plus 3 is 8. 3 times 7 is 21. 3 times 1 is 3 plus 2 is 5. I'm going to add 9, 5, and then there's one decimal point. So the area of my trapezoid should be 59.5 inches squared. Okay, so there are a lot of steps that you have to take. First, you want to label your parts. Then you're going to plug it into the formula. And after you plugged it in, you're just going to chug through the math. Notice I did my parentheses first. And then I went down here and I did this second. And then last, I multiplied them together. Okay, 3 sample problems. So I see that I have 3 trapezoids, so I'm going to be finding the area of the trapezoid. I don't have my formula. They don't give it to me for this one, so I'm just going to write it down here so that I have it nice and handy. Half of my height times the 2 bases added together. Base 1 plus base 2. Okay. After that, I'm going to go through and I'm going to label my parts. I'm just going to say base 1 is always the one that's on top. So those are all my base 1s. Even though this one is upside down, that's okay. And then I'm going to go through and label my base 2s on the bottom. And then I'm going to go through and I'm going to label my heights. And remember, your height always connects your 2 bases. Okay? Now I'm going to do the math. I'm going to plug these into the formula. So I have A equals half of the height, half of 8, which I might just keep a mental note. I know that's 4 already, but I'm still going to write it so I don't screw up. And then base 1, 11 plus base 2, 14. A equals half of 8. Add these 2 together. 1 and 4 is 5, 1 and 1 is 2, so I have 25. A equals 4 times 25. Mental math, 4 quarters gives me $1, so I know that my area equals 100 centimeters squared. Okay, so that's for the first one. Now I'm going to do this one right here. I'm going to plug in my parts. A equals half of my height, so half of 4, right here. And then I need to add my bases together, 2.5 plus 4.8. Okay, going to keep going. Half of 4, going to keep it there, even though I know it's 2. Then I need to add those 2 together. So 5 and 8, that's going to give me 13, so I have to carry my 1. 2 and 4 plus that carried 1 is going to give me 7, plus my decimal. Okay, A equals half of 4 is 2 times 7.3. So I'm just going to double 7.3, and 3 doubled is 0.6, 7 doubled is 14. So my answer is 14.6. Check my label, meters squared. Okay, the last one I will do in black, and I have area equals half of my height. So area equals half of 0.3. And now keep in mind that's a times 0.3, not times 3. Okay, so half of 0.3, and then I need to add 1 plus 0.5. Okay. Then my next step, A equals half of 0.3. Half of 0.3, add those together, 1.5. Then I need to figure out what half of 0.3 is, so I'm going to think of what's half of 3, and I know half of 3 is 1.5, or 1.5, and so I'll just make this 0.15 times 1.5, and then I need to multiply those together, so if I have some room, I'll do that up here. 1.5 times 0.15. 5 and 5 is 25. 7, 0, 5, 1, 5, 12, carry my 1, 2, 0.225. So my answer should be area equals 0.225 feet squared. Okay, so look at that slide. I have a ton of math, but that's important for me to get the answer right. So keep in mind when you have area of trapezoid, you're going to have to show your work and be extra careful to do all of the steps involved. Okay, so we did the first part where we can figure out the area of the trapezoid when they give us all of the parts that go into the formula. They give us the base 1, they give us the base 2, and they gave us the height. Well, this time we aren't given all of the parts. They might give us the two bases, but they're not going to give us that height. Okay, so the h is missing. So we're going to use a special formula to help us with that. And that is h equals 2a, so 2 times the area, because remember, we always do half. So we're kind of undoing it, and we're doing it times 2. And then we divide it by the base 1 plus base 2. So in this situation, the trapezoid has an area of 108 square feet. So my h equals, remember, 2 times the area, so 2 times 108. And then you're going to take that divided by the total of base 1 plus base 2, which is 12 plus 15. And I know that 12 plus 15 is 27. Okay, so now I need to work this through. 2 times, so my h equals 2 times 108, and I double that and I get 16, so I carry the 1. 0 plus 0 plus 1 is 1. Then 2 ones would be 216 over 27. Okay, and then I need to figure out 216 divided by 27. I'm going to do that up here. I can't put 27 into 216, so I'm going to think 20 times 5 is 100. So let's, and I know 27 times 10 would be 270. Let's do 27 times 7. 9, carry 4, 7 times 2 is 14. 189, okay, that's, I think, too low. Let's try 27 times 8. 7 times 8 is 56. 8 times 2 is 16. Plus 5 is 21. Okay, so 216 exactly. So I know 216 divided by 27 is 8. So my height is going to be 8. Okay, so we did the same thing. We had a formula, and we just plugged in the parts that we knew, and then we figured out for that missing height. Okay, so let's try it with these two problems. I snuck in the formula down here to help us. So let's focus on D up here, and they give us the area is 24. So we're looking for that missing height, okay? So if they give you the area, you have to use this formula to figure out the height. So you might want to write this down. Okay, so my height equals the area, 2 times the area. So 2 times 24, because they told us the area is right there, divided by B1 plus B2. Here's my B1, here's my B2. 12 plus 4 equals 16. So divided by 16. Now I just need to keep doing my work. 2 times 24 is 48. Divided by 16, and I believe that's 3. I'm just going to double check. 16 times 3, 8, carry my 1. Yep, so I know that my h would equal 3 for that problem. Okay, over here I have my area equals 21. So h, using this formula, h equals 2 times the area. So 2 times 21 divided by the B1 plus the B2. So 2 plus 5 is 7. I'm going to keep showing my work. 2 times 21 is going to be 42 divided by 7. And my h then will equal 6. Okay, so just know what type of problem you're doing. If you're finding the area, you need to use the formula at the beginning, the half times height times B1 plus B2. But if you don't have the height and you need to find that missing one, you need to use this formula. So it's important to know which formula to use. Okay, so here's a word problem. The shape of Osceola County, Florida, resembles a trapezoid. And you can see that they outlined that in red. The approximate area, or find the approximate area of this county. So I need to use my formula. A equals half of the height Oh, and I want to label. So my height is going to be right here, B1, B2. Remember last time I did B1 at the top? So I'm going to try and show you that it doesn't matter which one is B1 or B2. Okay, half of 51 plus 48 plus 16, or 16 plus 48. Yeah, I should probably do it like the formula says. So 16 B1 plus B2, 48. Okay, and then when I solve that, I'm going to get 48 plus 16, 64. So A equals half of 51 times 64. And then our solution is 1,632 square miles. And make sure you would label that. Okay, for this last slide, you need to do all 4 of these problems in your notebook. So please pause the video and work on these problems, and then we'll go over them in class.